Now, I'm guessing that of all the people in all the classes that I had for 3 master's degrees and a bachelor's degree in high school work, that maybe 80 to 85% did it 2 nights or 1 night before it was due.
I think you're right. I don't have any research that shows me that it's 80 or 85%, but anecdotally, that's probably the number. You know, the Pareto principle probably applies to this as well. So what's happening is that 8 out of 10 kids are waiting at least until the last week to get that homework done, right? And then they scramble to read it. They get it all read, and then they do their first all-nighter. You know? And they get the homework done at just before they're supposed to get up in the morning to go to class. They turn it in, and invariably a significant number of them get pretty good grades, despite the fact that they've waited all these weeks to get this homework done. And I think that taps into an inherent ability of people to rise to the occasion when the necessity rears its head. In fact, there's a name for that, and it's called necessity thinking. Most books that you read on success and achievement are written for that 20% of the people who are just like John. And God bless you, I'm glad we've got you. The other 80% can pick up a book and read really good stuff in the book and yet never apply it. And I asked myself, why don't people apply these things? If they would only take what they read and use the information, think of how much better the world would be. Think of how much better individual lives would be if they were to pick up, for instance, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich and live the 13 principles in Think and Grow Rich. Not only would they be rich economically, but their lives would be enriched in so many different ways. And yet, people just don't do it. People tend to think that success is reading one book after another about success. And in my line of work, I have found that that's just not what success is. Success is the actual achievement of your dreams, of accomplishing goals that lead to the final result. Pretty much as you just described in how you did your projects and your homework. The success is the continual realization of a worthwhile goal or ideal. But so many people just can't apply that because they're ingrained with this necessity thinking. So many people live their lives to avoid consequences rather than to gain benefits. And I asked myself, if so many people are doing that, why can't we use that somehow? Why can't we tap into the power of necessity thinking, which has 2 major components? Number one, the tendency to put off until a project becomes urgency. And number 2, the tendency to be motivated by the avoidance of consequences rather than the attainment of benefits.
I think if we look at benefits, one of the major benefits of putting off has to be an examination of consequences and alternatives. And I think probably the most important thing is to know when to procrastinate, know when to analyze, know when you have enough of what you need before you get rolling. Uh, and I think we can make your point with small business startups. A lot of folks are what a former teacher of mine called a ready, Teddy hot trot. In other words, eager like the horse at Belmont or at Churchill Downs to get on the track and get out there and win the race. And there's nothing wrong with that eagerness, but oftentimes there's a lack of preparation there.
I'm the last one to put down the need for preparation. I firmly believe that preparation is absolutely essential to success. People tend to confuse preparation with goal achievement, however. In fact, I teach a class we call it Fast Start Learning in the organization to which I alluded before. And it's designed to get people who have recently entered my profession into a fast track towards success in their business, hence the name Fast Start Learning. The one thing that we have found over the years is that people tend to fail not because they don't understand the technical aspects of their business. They tend to fail because they spend their time sharpening their pencils and straightening their desks and doing things that look like work but don't move them toward goal achievement.
I agree.
Now, if we could somehow take that sense of urgency that comes, in some cases, with desperation, and move that sense of urgency back in a timeline closer and closer toward today, people will then start to feel that sense of urgency and start taking those actions that they need to take in order to move towards success. And that's what the power of procrastination is all about. It's about tapping into the innate ability to act when the situation is desperate and the timeline is urgent.